Hello, viewers of Jonathan John Villarreal's World Emporium. I am Jonathan John Villarreal, and I am excited to share with you how we can expand our knowledge of the world through the English language. Our videos cover a wide range of topics such as literature, history, science, and more to provide you with a well-rounded learning experience. Regardless of whether you are a beginner or an experienced learner, our expertly curated videos offer captivating and enlightening content to help you enhance your language proficiency. Today, I would like to talk about the book which is named Guns, Germs, and Steel by Jarek Mason Diamond. Let me give you an overview of the author, Jarek Mason Diamond. He's an American scientist born in 1937, specializing in physiology, geography, and environmental health science. He is also an explorer, having traveled extensively to remote regions like New Guinea and Easter Island. His most famous book, Guns, Germs, and Steel, was first published in 1997. It aims to answer questions about the historical difference between continents. The book's purpose is to provide a history of our humanity over the past 13,000 years. While Yuval Harari Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind, focuses on how human societies develop through evolution. Jared Diamond's Guns, Germs, and Steel concentrates on explaining why there are differences in development among continents, societies, and geographical regions. He not only emphasizes the biological differences between races, but also focuses on the living environment and cultural factors. Diamond Diamond argues that the history of interactions between different ethnic groups is what shaped the modern world through conquest, infectious diseases, and extinction. Living in concentrated settlements and domesticating livestock provided favorable conditions for the emergence of dangerous diseases. In urban areas, diseases can spread rapidly and have devastating consequences. However, inhabitants often fail to realize that they are creating an ideal environment for the development of germs and immunity, which may become natural weapons against other ethnic groups in the future. The human mind is not born with innate knowledge. Instead, it relies on experience and interaction with the outside world to form individual knowledge. Similarly, Diamond believes that the initial consciousness of our humanity is like a blank sheet of paper, and the differences in the history of ethnic groups occur due to the different living environments they encounter, not just biological distinctions. Jared Diamond focuses on seeking ultimate explanations and tracing back the chain of historical causality as far as possible. The first farmers became the inhabitants of the world's first ancient cities. When they produced surplus food, social stratifications emerged, with especially farmers support other classes. This led to the achievements of civilizations such as writing to transmit knowledge, increasing productivity tools, reducing human labor through wheels, weapons for security and conquest, and more. The author explains the differences in domestication of plants and animals in different regions. He presents Anna Karenina's principle to explain why only a few wild animals species are domesticated. They prefer ripe fruits over unripe ones, and plants gradually change to produce ripe, juicy fruits to attract various species, including humans, to consume them. Disperse seeds, propagate, and grow. The domestication of plants occurred in three different waves. The first wave happened around 10,000 years ago with edible crops that were high yielding and easy to cultivate. The second wave, the second wave occurred around 4,000 years ago with fruit-bearing trees and nut-bearing plants, enabling propagation through cuttings or seeds. The third wave involved fruit-bearing crops like apples, uh, pears, cherries, etc., which require crafting and cross-pollination for successful harvests. Successful harvests. The region of Asia and Europe provided favored terrain and environment for agriculture and cultivation, whereas Africa and the Americas faced more obstacles. Latitude alone did not solely determine this, as it depended on geographic and ecological factors. Geographic environment and climate played a crucial role in creating favorable conditions for the expansion of food production, which indirectly influenced other inventions and developments in civilization, such as the invention of the wheel and writing. The milestones of human civilization are the development of agriculture, metallurgy, advanced technology, material, weapons, centralized government, and writing. Only two cases of writing were independently invented, while other alphabets were borrowed, adapted, or inspired from other systems. After the emergence of writing, it also underwent influences from various factors to spread to other societies. Modern society is different from primitive times due to the existence of police forces, cities, monetary systems, wealth disparities, and socio-political economic mechanisms. The questions arise: why is power and wealth distributed as it is today? Why did human development occur at different rates on different continents? The author illustrates a close correlation between the expansion of government and religion. In history, Europe continued to explore and conquer new territories worldwide, while China halted after some initial voyages. Europe's decentralized and competitive system forced competition and innovation. In contrast, China's centralized political system faced barriers to innovation and creativity. The cultural and linguistic diversity in Europe facilitated the exchange of knowledge and ideas, whereas China's homogeneity restricted easy access to new ideas. Europe's market economy encouraged technological progress, while China's unified economic system limited competition and progress. At the end of the 15th century, Columbus' exploration of America opened a new world for Europe. Treasure from the Americas and other new territories fueled Europe's competition and development in later times. Significant historical figures like Adolf Hitler, Alexander the Great, Buddha, Jesus Christ, Muhammad, and many others have had a profound impact on human history. Studying history and considering these diverse factors can help us better understand the differences among civilizations and societies worldwide, as well as reflect on the consequences of past decisions, past decisions and development for the present and future. In summary, Jared Diamond argues that agricultural production has contributed to an increasing calorie supply for humans, leading to population growth. Domesticating livestock provides meat, milk, fertilizer, and draft animals. Agricultural production is closely linked to settled lifestyles, shortening birth intervals and increasing population density. Settled living also enables surplus food storage, supporting specialized labor, and serving as a foundation for political units. Domesticated animals and plants provide materials for clothing and other purposes. Domesticated livestock become primary means of transportation. The domestication of horses had a significant impact on military advancements, showcasing how bacterial pathogens only involving human society with domesticated animals. This book broadens our perspectives, exploring human history from modern times to ancient eras beyond the confines of the Western world. We gain insights into ancient lands that are often less discussed, such as Southeast Asia, the Pacific Islands, and others in the Pacific region. Additionally, the author provides new information on important topics like the environment, the climate change, the global relationship between nations, issues that are highly relevant in our present day. The book Guns, Germs, and Steel is an exceptional treasure trove of knowledge, providing profound insights into the development and evolution of humanity and human societies. It offers fresh, unique, and fascinating knowledge. Yuval Harari, the author of *Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind*, has acknowledged that Jared Diamond's book serves as inspiration for his own work. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Your questions, comments, and feedback are always welcome and appreciated. So please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please do hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more interesting and enlightening content. By hitting the notification bell, you'll be sure to never miss any very exciting and thought-provoking episodes. Don't forget to share our channel with your friends and family who may also find our content beneficial. We are committed to providing you with high quality, well researched, and engaging content that will help you improve your English language skills and expand your knowledge. And I look forward to sharing more insightful and inspiring things with you in the near future.